Freestyle Travel. Hey everybody, this is Kenny Flannery, and this is the Freestyle Travel Show. I'm your host, as always, traveling out in California at the moment. I'm actually in a mobile home on a gigantic pot farm. Thousands of plants over here. Kind of a different situation than I expected to be in, but not wildly different. I'll get into how I wound up here in California, which has a lot to do with today's guest, which is Molly Jo Hawk Nixon. I don't know if she still uses all those names, but it's Molly. It's Molly Jo. I met Molly back in 2009, couch surfing. Couch surfed with her. I was with my buddy Nick, not the Nick who bailed out of hopping recently, but another redheaded Nick, good friend of mine I know from Alaska originally. We were going to go to the Grand Canyon. He was living in Phoenix, Scottsdale kind of area. So we paused in Flagstaff for a night, met Molly, and became really good friends. I hitchhiked with her for the first time, broke her into the traveling lifestyle to a certain degree. And yeah, we had a hell of a good time. Particularly in the beginning, there are lots of adventures. So we're going to get into some Vegas stories, how we met, our first hitchhiking trip. There's hitchhiking with cops, there's Mexico, there's strip search stories, all kinds of stuff. Molly's just an amazing human being. Lots of traveling with her early on, and she's done a lot of work with refugees in Greece. I've seen her over there. I've seen her in all kinds of places. Just an amazing person, legendary status in my life. Super stoked to get her on the podcast here finally. It's like when I got like Walter, Aaron, like people like that. People have been intertwined into my life story quite a bit. So yeah, gonna get into all that with Molly Jo, and then after the interview, if you want to call it that, it's more of just a discussion. I caught her on a good night. It's gonna be a good episode, you guys. You're gonna love this one. Lots of good stories, and like I said, good night that I caught her on to do this. So I'm on this pot farm with her right now, and I'll just kind of briefly tell you what's going on right now, and then after the talk with her, I'll dig into it more. But last episode I was in Virginia staying with a buddy, and I fucking lost my shoes. I only have one pair of shoes, so you think it'd be hard to leave somewhere without them, but I managed to do that. I got them back though. But yeah, that was the last episode. I was going over the whole hopping season 2, how that all shook out, but I was recording it from Virginia with my buddy. Not totally sure what I was going to do. I put out a feeler, basically, like what's going to happen next. And wound up coming out to California because Molly gave me a shout out. She's just like, remember that pot farm you were at a little bit at one time? We're going back. So I'm like, all right, yeah, okay, I'll come on back. So yeah, I will tell you that whole story, what I'm doing on this pot farm. I thought I was just going to be trimming, and I'm not just trimming. I'm doing quite a bit, and it's been a minute. So there's a lot of story there. But first, let's jump in and introduce you to Molly Jo. We're rolling. Not sure where to start, though.
I know.
From the beginning, I guess. How we met.
Yeah, so I learned about couch surfing, checked out couch surfing, and Kenny was one of my first guests.
Me and Nick.
You and Nick, yeah.
Yeah. How many people had you hosted before Nick and I?
That's a good question.
Like one or like
maybe
30?
Like 3.
Oh, okay. So
it was the very beginning.
Among the first.
Among the first, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like that crazy because I think we just stayed for a night and we got an early start, Nick and I, to the Grand Canyon.
You have a good memory.
But the next day, Nick rushed down to Phoenix or Scottsdale, wherever he was living, and I went with you and whoever else.
Oh yeah,
in
like the most
Sedona.
Magical swimming spot in Sedona.
You said you couldn't find that
place
again,
never find
right?
again. Yeah, it's even in my dreams.
Really?
But in my dreams, I haven't told you this. Yeah. When I dream about it, there's a hot springs within the river. So we're like.
Oh, that'd be a bonus.
Doing that, right? We're doing the rope swing into the river in Sedona, the creek, and there's like warm hot springs that you swim to.
Yeah, I like that addition.
Yeah.
One day we'll have to track that place back down.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think I either hitchhiked out of there, like you went back to Flagstaff, obviously, because you're going to school there, living there.
Yeah.
And I either hitchhiked right from that creek, or maybe one of your friends gave me a ride. I can't remember. But I did reread some blog posts. I should have done more research.
In the OG days.
Yeah, trying to remember the timeline. 2009 was 2009, and yeah, I did hitchhike with. I think the next time we saw each other was in Zion.
Oh yeah, it was in Zion.
Because you and Kelly came.
And you were with some couch surfer friends.
Yeah, like couch surfing adjacent. Like someone I'd stayed with and they were friends of theirs.
Oh, cool.
And then we kind of became friends as well. And
yeah, that was a pretty sweet spot.
Yeah.
Was that campground?
Yeah, and you could just walk like right to the edge and see like the majestic Zion.
Yeah.
And that's when I met Kelly. And then later that year or something, she's like, I want to hitchhike. So I went down to Phoenix and met her, and we had the whole kidnapping thing.
just the small thing.
Yeah, a little kidnapping in Mexico. And then months later, you're like, I want to hitchhike with you. That sounds great.
Yeah, so I was just graduated, or I was like doing a couple remote classes, and I was like, I want to travel, but I want to do it like Kenny. But I need to learn the ropes.
Yeah.
So you came and picked me up in Flagstaff, and we got pretty much the most epic first ride. All the way to San Jose, California.
You're not going to get that ride every day.
Yeah.
The very first ride. You never hitchhiked
like
before.
12 hours?
12 hours straight to San Jose. And I reread the blog post because I had remembered that those guys had let us stay with them or something.
I've been wondering. I've been like...
So, rereading the blog post, I guess while we were in the car, I got on couch surfing.
Oh, yeah. I remember now.
Yeah. And it was just like a total crash couch surf, because obviously I don't even remember that person too well. But they were just like, totally just like, yeah, you can crash for the night.
We actually hung out with them a little bit.
A little bit, because we got there not late, but kind of late.
Yeah, I remember we had some beers.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Yeah.
And we must have gotten like a somewhat early start. And
yeah, we did. We went out during the morning traffic in the city and thought, how the hell are we going to get across San Francisco?
Yeah.
We said the cities are tough.
Yeah, I reread that detail too. It was a guy from Fiji.
Oh, yeah.
Who had just been gambling and wanted
it was a guy. I thought it was there was an older woman maybe somewhere that gave us cash then or something.
Somewhere in the mix. That guy gave us cash too.
Cool.
According to my blog, $40.
Yeah, $40. And in 2010, $40 felt like so much money.
Yeah, like that was our money for the trip.
Yeah. We were like splurging.
Oh, yeah, we were good to go. I remember we got coffee at one point.
Yeah, we did in Mendocino.
Like, if not that night, like the next night or something.
It was, so after San Jose, we got a couple rides. Then we met a guy who was from your hometown.
Is he the guy who took us to the brewery?
He picked us up after the brewery, dropped us off, told us where to camp in Mendocino Beach.
Ah, right.
And gave you his number and said call him anytime for...
Yeah. Probably never called him.
Yeah. But he hooked us up, told us where to camp.
It was a sweet spot right under the bridge.
Yeah, and then the next morning we woke up because it was dark and we got there and it was like we were listening to Led Zeppelin and we found the stairs to heaven. Yep. Walked up to Mendocino, had some fresh coffee.
That was perfect. That brewery the day before, the now defunct Mendocino Brewing Company, the guy took us there. I think he bought us a couple pints and then we just like hitchhiked.
I think everyone in the bar bought us a couple pints.
Yeah.
They're like, who are these hippies with backpacks?
It keeps getting better.
Yeah.
I think you're doing like cartwheels when we were hitchhiking out of Mendo. Out of
Fort Bragg, yeah. We were rolling down the sand.
Oh yeah, those little sand dunes.
While we were waiting for a ride, yeah.
Man, that was perfect. And that's when someone tried to drop us off at like some beer-related thing. They thought a festival was going on or something. Yeah. Whatever they thought was going on beer-related wasn't, and they just dropped us off. And then we started walking, and right away I saw North Coast Brewery, and I'm like, oh, there's a brewery. And I saw the Old Rasputin, which you picked up for me last night.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, that was that beer.
That's so funny.
And I walked in, I'm like, oh, because I never knew North Coast. I just knew Old Rasputin. I didn't know him as a brewer. I was like, holy shit, this is where they make it? Like, at the time, like, my favorite beer.
Oh, that's funny. That's the one I found in town for you.
Yeah, the bottom that was good. Or 2 nights ago, something like that. And skip through Fort Bragg. I forget if it took just like a day. We had that one really wet night. The guy in the van picked us up.
The guy in the van picked us up, and I was like, new traveler, no bivy sack, no rain jacket.
We camped with him. He slept in his van,
He slept in his van, but he was like nice, but also distant. Like told us to go sleep down on the beach, and I was soaked. And I remember you got up during the night and put your jacket over me.
Yeah, like it's too late and too little.
I was soaked for sure. My feet were frozen.
At least it wasn't like
it was warm
freezing,
enough. Yeah, it was warm enough for sure.
But we dried out
like March
as we cruised. I forget how far we went with that guy. And
because we went with him the next morning.
Yeah,
I think we went into Oregon.
Yeah, and I don't know if we camped again, but we got to Eugene to see your friend. Eventually. Yeah,
I forget the beginning of Oregon. So maybe it was another straight shot. I don't know.
Whitney, was that before?
No, we stayed with my friend Terilyn.
We stayed with her in Eugene.
Flagstaff in Eugene.
Did we stay with Whitney that trip or another trip in McMinnville?
Oh, that's a good question. No, we stayed in Portland with my friend Desiree.
Okay. I remember that too. The sequence, the order of operations. Yeah.
Whitney, do you know her last name?
She now lives in Montana.
Whitney Burmis. You met her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
We stayed with her. I remember I had that pot butter that went really bad, and I was like, "Do you think this is still good?" And you're like, "No, get that poison out of here."
That was the beginning of my travel days. Now I would be like, "Hell yeah, it's still good."
Yeah, let's find out. I'm sure it'll do something. Oh man, I think that was that same trip. I'm pretty sure, or something.
It must have been. I forgot she lived in Oregon for a while. She went from Arizona to Oregon and then over to Montana.
I don't even know where McMinnville is now, like geographically.
I only remember McMiniman's, the brewery. It has really good tots.
The two. It has really good tots.
We would always go there for happy hour with our $40 and get the tots for $1 and 2 fresh beers.
Solid. That is the move.
A couple blocks from Terilyn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was an epic trip, learning the ropes for sure.
Yep, Eugene. And then we hitchhiked, like, day tripping to Portland.
Oh, yeah, and these mom and daughter that were...
Oh, they gave us, like, crayons and coats and...
and they gave us a gold necklace and told us to go to the thrift store and, like, pawn it or whatever, or the pawn store. Gold, was it? I think we lost the gold. I don't know. We had this pencil box that was like the gold mine because they also had the most exciting part was that they gave us Zots, which is my favorite candy when I was a kid.
Yeah, I had those Zots for a while. I think one of our Vegas trips, which I think we'll get to,
you pulled it back out.
Here we go.
That's funny.
Zots, yeah.
Zots, yeah. I remember being really excited about the Zots. So she gave me them all.
Amongst the crayons and pencils and coats.
And necklaces.
Yeah. She gave us like a heavy coat, and it was definitely like April or May.
It was like, here we go, thrift store.
Okay. We'll take it. And then I believe at the end of all this, you flew back to Phoenix or Flagstaff, and I...
Yeah, I flew out of Eugene.
I hitchhiked on to...
And I went to, I had like 2 college credits left, and I took these like outdoor backpacking classes for a credit each.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then we met up a couple months later, went to Stagecoach. Or no, we went to Coachella first.
Yeah, I know it was right after St. Patty's Day or something.
That we were in Oregon.
Coachella. I actually even like wrote that shit down somewhere. Zion. Yeah, post St. Patty's Day, that's when we... Oh yeah, I reminded myself of this reading it. We went to somewhere and hiked with like your sisters and your mom and stuff.
Oh yeah, my foster sister Chelsea. Yeah.
Or pretended to break her ankle.
She pretended to break her ankle to get out of the hike. Yeah, it was just like yelling Molly.
Man. Nope, that definitely happened.
Yep, that happened somewhere in between, and there was a few Vegas trips in between, and...
Yeah, I think Coachella came before Vegas, so I must have met you...
You came to Arizona.
Shortly after, yeah. Came to Arizona, and then, then we had to pretend like my brother was picking us up, because you hadn't told your parents that you, like, hitchhiked yet.
Oh, the old days!
Yeah.
The OG
So,
days.
Your dad dropped us off at like
Jackrabbit Trail,
gas station.
That's where all the Craigslist ride shares would pick me up.
Oh,
So
okay.
we were like, that's a safe bet. Dad won't know.
That's
Sorry,
where my
Mom.
brother's going to pick us up. And then I remember you went to the bathroom and I saw some girl get out of a car. And then you ran straight to her because that was your friend who was picking us up. It's like, and her brother and her brother's friend.
Oh, to go to Coachella. Yeah.
Because we did have
we actually did have arrived that time.
Because it was night.
There was a time where we told my parents something different, though.
Oh, yeah. There's probably a couple times.
There's a few times in there.
Yeah, nothing super devious, but...
Yeah.
But, yeah, Coachella...
Yeah, so then my friend picked us up with their brother, and we thought we had the ride all the way to Coachella, and then they got in an argument in the car, and he dropped us off on the side of the road. I said, all right.
Well, by the volunteer tent, at least.
Yeah.
Because him and his friend had actually paid for
We were
tickets
at least, like, in the
reason.
Coachella vibe, you know, like, in the circle.
Yeah.
So it was, like, all festival people. And
Yeah, so we got our little badges or tickets or lanyards or whatever, and then stuck our thumbs out, and instantly this minivan with these 3 guys.
Oh, was it after we got our volunteer passes?
Yeah, we got the passes, and we're like, all right, I guess it was dark, but, you know, place is loaded with Coachella folk. And we were only, like, 5 miles away or something.
Yeah.
So this minivan, it was 2 guys who worked for Google and another, like, tech kind of guy.
Friend of theirs, yeah.
And they picked us up, and we got along real well right away. And just instantly... Oh, we had to wait in that line for, like... Cause
it was hours.
And everyone realized...
To get inside Coachella, yeah.
Oh, you can't bring in glass bottles. So
That's right. Everyone's just passing them out.
You know, some people were trying to hide their bottles.
Before the festival even started.
Oh, yeah. Beer bottles and big vodka bottles. And some people were hiding it, but most people were just like, let's go to town.
Let's share it up.
Oh, man. So it was just
that's
like a big
when
tailgating party.
That's when the can't stop, won't stop, get it on. That's when that started.
Yep, and never stopped.
Never stopped. 11 years later.
Yep, still going. Gotta get it. Fucking hell. Oh, yeah, that was a good 3-day bender of madness.
Mini first for me.
Oh, yeah.
First festival. First electronic music, yeah.
Good music. There was 3 stages and 2 DJ tents.
Yeah, there were some big names there, yeah.
Like, I think at the end of the night, the main stage would be the only one going. But all day, it was pretty much all 5 of those stages and tents just jamming out. Man, that was freaking fun. There's a lot of stories in there.
It was pretty epic. I remember afterwards, we thought it would be so easy to hitch back to Phoenix. Because our friends, the ride was only the way there, and they had to leave early, and we're like, no, we're staying until the next day.
Oh, yeah, we're staying.
So we, like, tried to hitch out, and I remember being so tired that you had to help me pick up my backpack to get it on my back.
Yep. We actually tried to take a nap.
We tried to take a nap, way down in the trees. Yeah, the police came and said, you can't nap here. And we're like, wait, what?
Where are we supposed to nap then, sir?
We can't nap with our backpacks in the quiet in the trees.
Yeah, this is the only tree for miles.
Yeah.
So I forget if we got a short ride, but we got a ride in the
back
of that
We got a short ride to the
truck.
gas station.
Yeah, we managed to somehow eat something.
We ate something somewhere.
And then this guy picked us up and, like, didn't even ask and got us, like, $20 worth of
He got us
Popeyes
a family box of Popeyes and said, oh, you've been camping. You need a lot of food. And we're like, oh, we just ate so much. Like, we can't do it.
He must have looked at us like we're just dragging.
We just looked at each other like, oh, my God, how do we get out of this situation?
Yeah. Did he take us all the way?
He took us all the way to Larry's. And it was,
Larry's,
April 19th. And Larry was away,
he was
and
out of town.
We were so tired from traveling and the festival that we slept for 23 hours.
Yep.
We woke up the next day and we're like, shit, we were supposed to call my mom, Captain Hawk,
3, 4, 6 p.m. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it was like 5 p.m. We were supposed to call her in the morning. And it was 4:20, and she's like, oh, I know what you've been doing. Your sister told me it's 4:20, and I was like, oh, yeah, Mom, you know exactly.
Yeah,
you know it.
You're on the right track.
And, and I remember that night, we wanted to fill up when my parents had a pool, and we wanted to fill up the inflatable rafts, or whatever you call them. And we were going to sleep out there, falling asleep on the rafts, just floating around in the pool, and my mom just came out and so softly said, Molly, I worry about you every single night. this one night while you're home, can you please just let me sleep? And we said, okay, fair enough, Mom. We're coming inside. I'm sleeping on the living room floor.
Fall asleep in the pool. I think I tried to talk her out of it. I was like, if we fall in the pool, we'll surely wake up.
We tried. And we're like, we'll try and fall asleep. And then I think the guilt just like slowly brought us inside.
Give her that one.
All right, Mom, you're fair enough.
Yeah.
And then a few nights later, she let us take her car out to a Stagecoach.
Oh, yeah, because we got into Coachella for free by agreeing to volunteer at Stagecoach 2 weeks later, week later, something like that.
5 days later.
5 days later.
We had a 5-day break.
Yeah.
And then, we showed up on Thursday night. It's like to volunteer like before the festival started.
Volunteering was easy.
It was easy. We just danced in the parking lot and said welcome to everybody, and that was it.
That was it. We weren't even some people had like go in and check for alcohol. We didn't have to do anything. We were just there.
No, yeah.
Holding sign. Oh, I didn't even drink the champagne right
Come on.
Cheers.
Almost.
Double fisting for the podcast. A little beer, a little champagne.
Special occasion.
Yeah.
Here at Shambali.
But yeah, that festival was awesome. Met your husband there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So we were done with our shift and we saw this goofy guy in a golf cart and crutches. We're like, who's that guy?
I forgot he was all gimped out.
Yeah, and then we were super tired from the last 7 days of our lives, so we're like, we'll go to bed early because the festival starts tomorrow. So we're just sleeping with our sleeping bags on the ground in the campground, and out of the whole festival, they made this one lot for all the Coachella volunteers. There
wasn't like a ton of us. I think
put us all together.
Like 40
the first night there was not so many. Yeah, maybe max like 60 by the end.
Yeah.
But the first night it was like maybe even less.
Yeah.
And we were sleeping. We're like being good kids. We said, we'll go to bed early, get ready for the festival to start tomorrow.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, what's going on? And this big old 7-foot tall guy named Ed was trying to find a spot to sit down on the ground, and he put his hands in your eyeballs.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, he fucking grabbed me like a bowling ball.
Yeah. And we're like, who are you? And at that point, I was like, screw this. I'm going in the car.
Yeah. I'm not going to get grabbed by fucking folks wandering
These
around.
big old guys from California, long hair. Yeah, so then I tried to sleep in the car, and then I met Kyle.
Yeah. Stagecoach.
Yeah, it was all over.
Dude, most
then
people...
we partied with the country folk in the RVs and beer pong. And,
oh, yeah. They were friendly.
They're super friendly.
There's a lot of those volunteers who
Lots
never
of,
even ventured
Budweiser. Out. Yeah, all the Coachella folks just, stayed in that parking lot and partied.
Screw this country music, and I was like, dude, I want to go, see what they're doing.
I want to go party with them, and I want to see the music, because I don't care what kind of music it is. I want to be on the front line dancing.
It was jumping. And we met a bunch of people. Eve was cool, and then we did that whole road trip.
Yeah.
Stage Coachella and
Sylvia,
road trip.
Yeah. So then we left
recruited a bunch of miscreants.
Coachella and recruited this group of 5 people who didn't have anywhere to go.
There was a Canadian trying to hitchhike to San Francisco.
We're like, no, we got you. Come to Arizona.
Yeah, we're gonna send you on a crazy ass mission.
Yeah. So did we all sleep on my parents' living room floor, or did we go to Flagstaff?
No, we slept.
We went and picked up my parents' car,
and we stayed there for the night.
Oh no, we dropped off my parents' car. Then we all tried to hitchhike up. We went to Flagstaff.
Well, we had Sylvia's little white car.
Sylvia's car, yeah. Which then we ended up.
We took that to Flagstaff exclusively, or some of us hitchhiked?
I think we all fit. So it must have been you, me, Ovid, and Sylvia. Maybe there was one other.
Oh, Kyle wasn't with us yet.
No, Kyle was working at that time.
Okay, there might have been one more person with us, I feel like. But maybe not.
Maybe not for those. I think those few days might have just been the 4 of us. And we went to Phoenix. Me and you were in my dad's car. Because after Coachella, we're like, we can't hitchhike out of another festival.
Well, the idea is there was 10 of us. And we're like, all right, some of us are going to go to Phoenix and Flagstaff.
Well,
we'll all meet up in Vegas and go to San Francisco.
What happened is Kyle, Ed, all those people, Eva, Mike, all those people had to go to work. So they went to work in San Diego and LA.
But they were going to meet us on the way up to San Fran.
Yeah, we were going to go to San Fran, and instead we settled with Vegas.
Well, even in Vegas, the plan was to keep going to San Fran. Oh, was it? And then we ran into Walter.
Oh, yeah.
Who's also been on this podcast,
actually.
Yeah,
cool.
And when we saw Walter, he was just in Vegas for a tech conference or something.
Oh,
and he was flying out 2 days later. And he
didn't he fall asleep on the toilet that night?
Oh yeah.
We lost him for like
Treasure
5
Island.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like MIA.
Yeah.
He's narcoleptic, so he does this.
Yeah. Sorry to call you out there,
Yeah.
Walter.
Oh no. And yeah, it's like, where the fuck did this guy go? And he's like, yeah, I fell asleep in the toilet.
We're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're good, we're good.
But he talked us into, instead of San Fran, he's like, let's go to Joshua
And Kyle
Tree.
had to work on that like Monday, so Kyle's like, hell yeah, let's do Joshua Tree instead of San Francisco.
Yeah, so we all bombed on down to San Francisco. On the way, we
bombed down to Joshua Tree.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then the engine on the way, we didn't even get out. We were on the outskirts of Vegas, and the engine overheated. And you're out there with a sign like, water, can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, so eventually this like big old semi truck with this like old grumpy guy, I don't know how old he was, but he was definitely grumpy. He gets out and he looks at me, he's like, you're just like my daughter, you're so annoying.
Straight up.
Very straight up, and I was like, yeah, can't stop, won't stop.
And he's like, how do you tolerate her?
I was like jumping on the side of the highway at like 100 degrees. Like, he's like, what are you doing?
Looking for water, bro.
And I was like, man, I've been waiting to travel my whole life, and here I am. Of course I'm jumping on the side of the highway.
Yeah. Well, he gave us what we needed, and we got to Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
But we got there late, so all the
We got there
were...
late. Sylvia ran out of gas at the end. And
Oh, yeah.
right after we met Kyle and Ed.
We had to rendezvous with them. Cell service was weird.
Yeah.
Somehow we...
took a while to connect.
All the actual campsites, so we stayed like just outside the gate, like between the gate and the interstate. Like just straight up desert.
Yeah.
We got a fire going though.
I hope that was legal.
I don't know if it was legal or not.
Maybe 2010, there's a few less fires. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was cold, so it was still early because the desert nights, it was cold.
Hot in the day.
We partied for
Yeah.
3 days or something.
There's a picture floating around somewhere of a bunch of us like on top of the car.
On top of the cars, yeah. Yeah, that's a good picture.
Yeah, looking at the stars.
Yeah,
chilling.
and then yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and all those people came and joined us, like Kyle and Eve and Mike. And,
Yeah, even Mike came out too. Yeah, it was like reunion. So it was like 3 weekends in a row, like boom, boom, boom. Vegas in between, like sleeping at Larry's in between.
Yep.
And then the guy that we picked up at Stagecoach, the country music festival, was trying to hitchhike to San Francisco.
Oh, that poor fucking dude.
We just
man.
left him in Joshua Tree for him to hitch on his way on.
I know. It's like, all right, we got you like an hour outside the festival. It took us like a week and like a bunch of madness.
And we brought you back.
Yeah, we
Sorry about that, Ovid.
took him south. I forget if he hitchhiked with Walter.
No, we dropped him off on his own. I don't remember where Walter went. But...
Walter was going back to Vegas, I think.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Because
So
he had to catch a flight.
Yeah, I feel like Walter somehow got a ride with somebody partway or something, but...
He might have.
I remember dropping Ovid off, and we're all just like, oh, I feel so bad, like waving, like...
Yeah, he had a great time, though.
We stole a week of your life. I hope it was worth it.
Yeah.
He's like, hell yeah, it was.
Yep. Off to get his bus.
Yeah, he did do the bus, and...
That's awesome. I haven't seen him since.
I always said I was going to go visit Ovid.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
I'm not allowed in Canada legally. I think Canada.
Oh, yeah, the
such a
TUI
big
thing.
border
Yeah,
now.
well, one time I was coming back from a, 4-month cycle trip in Europe and in Africa and in the Middle East, and Kyle and I flew into New York, and I was like, I'm just going to go to Canada. I don't remember if I was going to see Ovid, actually, or someone else. I was going to see a couch surfer or somebody across the Canadian border, and Kyle flew on to Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And I tried with my backpack, like I stayed I stayed in the park in New York, and then, sorry, Mom. And the next day I got
you slept in Central Park?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, nice.
For just a couple hours.
Couple hours, yeah.
Well, what happened? So Kyle and I flew from Tbilisi, Georgia, into New York City at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And Kyle had a flight at 7. So we're neither of us have ever been to New York, any big cities on the East Coast.
So
Kyle been to Boston.
in the airport.
Yeah, so we're like, come to the city. We'll go see the city by night. At least the views and stuff. And
yeah.
New York, the bars are open till 4, so we were able to go for one drink when we landed, and then Kyle went back to the airport at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m.
Oh, because you didn't have to fly out till later.
I didn't fly out, and so but we met these guys and girls and hung out, and then I hung out in the park for a while, and then the next morning I had a bus to Ithaca.
Oh,
Went to a 3-day, but an amazing, really grassroots, like small festival, like no stage, just yoga and like music by
1,500 people, something like that.
No, like 300 people.
Nice.
And like 10 yoga teachers and like 10 meditation teachers and like cacao and kava by the fire, like music by the fire. It was super low key, it's like perfect after a 4-month cycle trip. But anyways, back to the story. From there, I was trying to cross the Canadian border from Niagara Falls to go stay with some couch surfers.
Were you on foot?
I was on foot with a backpack.
That happened to me. They backroomed me and searched everything.
They backroomed me. They interrogated me. They said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to stay at a couch surfer's house." They're like, "Couch surfing is not real. Like, you're lying."
Yep.
And they told me, I'm this 22, 23-year-old single girl, like, and they told me like these big guys, like really intimidating me, to be honest. I was crying. I'm not going to lie. Secret told.
Yep.
I was crying and they were really interrogating me, and they said, "You have to have an insurance card," which I did because I was under 26. I was still in my parents. So it all worked out.
Nice.
But they said, they fucked me. They said, "You have to have an insurance card that says in writing, covered in Canada." And so I called my mom, crying. So my mom's like, "I got to do everything," So my mom calls in our insurance company in Arizona or wherever, and they say that doesn't exist. No cards say that.
Yeah.
So they told me I had to have that, which was impossible. And then they told me I had to have, I'm not going to admit, a very small amount, but amount of money in my bank statement and then show them. And I didn't have that amount.
Oh, yeah.
And I even had a bus ticket out from Niagara Falls because when I, beginning days, traveling alone, I was like a little more like organized. I planned a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I because I was going to visit my brother in Nebraska, I had a bus ticket to like Cleveland, and then I was going to fly out at Cleveland. But anyways, they turned me away. So I had to walk back across to Niagara Falls and totally change.
I got turned back at that same border.
At the same border? No way!
And I think it's because they probably don't get a lot of on-foot backpackers.
Yeah.
They get a lot of on-foot people with a camera.
They think it's like we're homeless and we want to like use their insurance.
Yeah.
Like,
they went through my computer.
Oh, no way.
They emptied out everything. They were reading scraps of paper, just notes I had.
Shit.
Yeah, and the same thing. They wanted a bank statement. I said, I was actually trying to get to Michigan, and it's 100 miles to go through Canada versus 300 miles. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to be here for 2 hours.
Exactly. I was like, I have a bus ticket out in 3 days.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've been to Canada a bunch of times. Obviously, I haven't stayed because here I am. Like, I'm trying to chill.
Right.
And nope, they turned me away. They thought I was trying to immigrate. But they wanted stupid stuff. They're like, because I told them I was going to California to house sit, which was like half true. So I was going to work on a fucking pot farm. But they're like, get us a letter from that woman. I'm like, you want an arbitrary letter from a woman you never heard of that I could type up?
So you're like, let me call my friend Molly, let her type up a letter.
I almost went to a Starbucks and
I tried everything. I tried to print. I went to the hostel that night. I showed up crying, like, please tell me you have a bed. I'm like jet lagged from a 4-month cycle trip across like Morocco. And
I got lucky when it happened to me because I'm like, shit, I guess I got to hitchhike the 300 miles around. And this girl picked me up and she's like, you can just crash, because it was late, kind of. And she's like, you can just crash in my house tonight if you want to.
Oh,
and then her boyfriend showed up and we were like barbecuing. And they went out to smoke a cigarette and they came back and they're like, so you can totally crash here if you want, but also we're willing to get you a bus ticket to Detroit. But the bus leaves in like 45 minutes, so it's up to you. And I was like, I guess I'll take the bus ticket. Y'all are cool.
You can sleep on the bus.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's like
it
a
was
perfect spot.
because it was going to roll into Detroit at like 7 or 8 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Perfect, like, sleep.
You had family in Detroit, or?
No, but like it meant I could sleep on the bus and have a full day of hitchhiking. I was actually going to meet Nick.
Where were you going? Oh, cool.
Up in the UP.
Remind me, Nick.
Nick rocks. He was red hair.
Yeah.
You only met him that one time, I guess. So.
Is he live in Arizona, or I can't remember?
He did live in Scottsdale. I met him in Alaska volunteering for couch surfing.
Oh, cool. I remember there was this. Oh, yeah. I remember there was a story. Yeah, you all cooked up some good pasta. We're all like me and Bo and Tim, these broke college kids. You're like, we'll make pasta. We're like, hell yeah!
Yeah, man, Nick is a master. I've seen Nick in
something
more
that's
states,
not frozen.
More states and countries than anyone else rather.
Oh,
I've seen him in Australia, Thailand.
How many is that? How many do we need to get to beat that? I'm competitive.
How many countries have I seen you in though?
Only 2.
Only 2?
Right?
here in
Greece in the
Mexico.
US?
Oh, in Greece. So 3.
Oh, in Mexico, 3, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so what is it with him? It's Australia, Thailand, Turkey on both the Europe and the Asian side,
Okay, that's one.
Holland, and then the States is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's like
all over.
Alaska, California, Nevada, Tennessee.
Well, what are we in
Michigan,
the States? It's Arizona, California,
Nevada,
Washington, Nevada.
Yeah, Oregon. You said that
Oregon,
earlier.
yeah.
Of course.
But I mean, California. Let's admit, California counts for like 2, like or 3 maybe.
yeah, because I've seen you in southern, northern,
Central, like
yeah, all the spots.
all the spots, including hitchhiking across the state.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Greece as well.
And Greece, yeah, that was pretty cool. You told me about the brewery, and I was like, wait, what? I've been living here a year, and there's a brewery.
I know. And then you guys texted me like a day or a couple weeks later.
Yeah,
and
you
you're
had
just
to
like,
leave.
We went there. We got all this free beer.
Yeah, so you told us about it, and we're like, oh, we have to go. Like, of course. And we went out there, and they were not used to like seeing tourists, and they were like so excited. A group of like 3 guys and a girl, and they were like, you guys got to come barbecue with us next time. And they gave us like glass mugs, which I brought home to my brother, and T-shirts, and like beers, and we tried all their beers. Yeah, exactly. It was about 20 minutes outside the town we were living in. Yeah, and it was actually really like we had been in Greece for a couple years drinking. I'm not gonna say it's terrible, but European beers, not the same flavor.
They're boring. They're
light. They're good for the heat.
Let's call it what it is. Good for the heat.
Like the PBR of Europe.
When they're cold, they're cold.
And it's 105 degrees, like, yeah. But anyways, so it was like so.
All I had to do was come for like 2 or 3 days and be like, there's stuff
a brewery.
If you
but we were just so hyper focused in the humanitarian work that wasn't even a thought. But anyway, so then we just always went out there, and they gave us really cheap beer, because you go to the store and it's like 3 or 4 euros for like the small bottle, and you go out there and it's like 15 euros for a box,
Yeah. You're gonna
we had fun with them. They showed us all around. We each tried every single beer.
Nice.
And they sent us home with lots of merchandise. Yeah.
Wish I had stuck around long enough.
Yeah, well, you have to go there
adventure.
one day. It's worth it. Yeah. Bring some friggin' meat or something to put on the barbecue, and just show up, and you'll be set.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'll film an episode there. That's the move.
Yeah, they're really nice. They'd be up for it.
Well, I'm sure they would.
They invited us to because we went there not just once.
Constantly. We're back.
Yeah, we had one day off a week when we were working in the refugee camps, and we would try and go there and take the new volunteers there, and we always had a good time, and they always sent us with beer, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. I'm trying to think of because we've been to Vegas together 3 or
4 times within. No, wait, this is what's crazy. It was 3 or 4 times within 2 months.
Yeah. So I'm
3 months, yeah.
So the first time was at the trip we just talked about, the post stagecoach?
It was. Kyle wasn't there, so it was. Kyle showed up late. No, I think he wasn't there, and then the second trip he showed up later or something. Okay. So the first trip was you, Walter, me. It was the stagecoach crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were all there, and I was getting my free rooms back then. I think we stayed in the Luxor.
We stayed in the Luxor, and then all of us broke 20-year-olds traveling, had the free breakfast buffet, and I just remember smashing it, putting stuff in my pocket.
Oh yeah, I think we did shuttles up to the room.
Yeah, we're we need lunch and dinner.
Yeah. We did that. I don't remember the second time, because I remember we had a couple of McCormick visits.
There was another time, and that's when we went with Monica and Kevin from Flagstaff. So one of them drove us.
That's when we
met Kyle there, and we became the McCormicks. That was after the Joshua Tree Music Festival, so that was a few weeks later.
Okay.
Because you didn't make it for the festival, but then we rejoined somehow. And that's when Kyle was working, so it was 3-day weekends. We'd all meet up, and then we'd all go do our thing, and then come back together on the weekends.
So I think it was just the 5 of us. We bombed up there, and Kevin and Monica was just I think I met Kevin at a bar. You already knew him?
Monica knew him. I didn't know him.
Oh, okay.
He's a good friend of Monica's.
And I think it was like literally like one of those drunken nights, like we're going to Vegas tomorrow, like fuck yeah, and then follow through happened.
Yeah, we're like, wait, what's follow through?
We're actually all going. Fuck it, yes.
Hell yeah! I think we like had a ride instead of hitchhiking because they came with us or something.
Yeah, we definitely had a ride.
And then I remember that's when I was still like a nervous traveler. So then I went home with Kyle and flew. I had a flight, which is so crazy. Now looking back, I'm like, I flew from San Diego to Phoenix.
Oh my God.
But it was like $40 or something. You know, it was like cheaper than the Greyhound. So I was like, all right.
Yeah. 6-hour drive.
Yeah. Met Kyle's family like 2 weeks in.
Shit. I don't know if it was the next time we went to Vegas, but it was with that girl that got the trust fund and she had the super suite.
Oh, that was the next one. That was a whole nother. That was its own separate trip.
Yeah, because you and Kyle
That's when we met Kyle. No, I didn't go with Kyle. I think I left with Kyle that weekend. That's the one I flew from San Diego.
I mean, to Vegas. We went from Flagstaff to Vegas.
We rode. Remember the time we rode with Kyle with like he had that little sports car, something.
That wasn't that time, but it was a different time. And his window was busted.
His window was busted, and I just remember you sitting in the back seat, and I could barely see you because that was before Kyle and I really knew how to travel.
Yeah.
Cots, like tents, everything was like on top of you. We could barely see you in the back seat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then me in the front with like backpacks. And
then we went through the checkpoint, and his window wouldn't roll down.
His window wouldn't roll down, and the guy's like, "Go ahead."
And he's like, "You're free to go." And Kyle rolls into the
secondary inspection. Yeah, exactly. We're like, "Wait, Kyle, really, really,
dude.
Really?"
This is not the best time for us to be here. But the trust fund girl time, I remember that because Kevin, there wasn't enough room in the car. So you and Kyle and maybe someone else drove, and then Kevin and I hitchhiked.
Oh, yeah.
And
so I think maybe,
yeah,
Kyle came out to Arizona for my graduation like 3 weeks in. He's like, I'm coming. I'm like, that's
there for
weird.
Your graduation.
You were, right?
I might not have. I was definitely there for like the reception of the graduation.
That time period.
It was like a big courtyard thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like all my buddies.
Yeah.
My buddies. Yeah.
Strong.
My college buddies. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So I remember Kyle and I drove. You guys hitchhiked. Yeah.
And I was like, 2 dudes hitchhiking, but we did pretty well.
Yeah, I even thought about going so it would be faster, but I was like, nah.
yeah, I got a free ride with this dude. And,
new dude, yeah.
I booked a free room at the MGM.
Yeah.
But that girl
also booked a suite. I don't remember
She had
where.
a suite at Mandalay Bay.
Oh, it was Mandalay Bay, you're right.
At the very end of the hallway, which actually there's a story later which makes this relevant.
Yes.
And it's the double doors at the end of the hallway, like the super suite. Like you walk in, it's a big ass living room, and then there's 2 bedrooms on either side of the living room, like
top
multiple
floor.
bathrooms. All that stuff. And like, so we went there and we never touched the MGM room. I never even checked in.
You're right.
Like, because we were just sleeping.
That was like our backup plan.
And there was like
we
15 people.
Sleeping.
No, we were not sleeping. But like, besides her, like her brother was there with a bunch of his friends.
Yeah, a bunch of his friends.
There was like a good
Kevin's friends.
10 or 15 of us.
At least 12 of us.
In beds or on the floor, sleeping bags, and we just went hard. And I remember one night, Kyle accidentally, there's 3 hallways when you get up the elevator.
Oh yeah, this is how it happened.
So like he went down one of the hallways to the double doors and it was open, and because there was like 15 people, he walked in and he didn't really recognize anybody, which kind of made sense. And there was a bunch of like food laid out, so he just started nibbling.
A bunch of bottles of tequila.
And then like drinking
of course,
tequila.
Kyle started nibbling.
And then one of these guys was just like, who are you? But they gave him a bottle of tequila.
And they all came back with him, remember?
So a day later, or later that night, we actually emptied the metal garbage can, and he poured the tequila in, and me and Kevin got some margarita mix. The garbage can
you're kidding me.
It was untouched.
Oh.
It was an untouched garbage can. It was stainless steel.
With all the fucking chemical spray.
It was filled with ice and chemicals.
I didn't care about toxins at this point.
And at some point in the night, we ran out of booze. So all of us mobbed down to their room at like 1 a.m, wearing goofy Burning Man hats and shit. Just like furry stuff.
I had Kyle's goggles and the peak fur hat.
We walk in and it's like these big Mexican dudes in tighty whities. Like they're clearly winding down or had already.
And we're like, boom. boom.
And
boom,
Kyle's like,
boom,
what?
boom.
And then they tilted our heads back physically and poured tequila down our throats.
I can't believe you remember this.
And then they riled up and like mobbed down to our room.
Yeah.
And we partied until security kicked us the fuck out.
We were listening to dubstep, like, what was that song? It was something about the sunrise, that boom, 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 and the sun was coming up, and
That's when we got
security
kicked
was
out.
knocking.
So,
And Kyle said to the guy, as he was kicking us out, Kyle said, okay, you work here. You work in Vegas. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you say? And he looked at Kyle with a blank stare and said 10.
oh, man. You know what the other issue was? Because they'd come to the door a couple times before they kicked us out. But whoever had answered the door and been like, all right, we'll be quieter, never relayed that to me.
Yeah, we had no idea.
Yeah.
It was someone who was like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, like, fucking...
That's why like Kevin.
yeah. So I remember, actually, Kevin, that girl, and I all decided to hide under the covers because we were in one of the bedrooms, and we're just like...
I was hiding too at the beginning, but then once Kyle was talking to them, I was like, boom, boom, boom.
Dude, we came out, and I was one of the last people to leave, and she was crying, the girl.
Oh, she was crying, but then...
And I was like, man, don't worry. They're just like,
we gotta back up. Don't
they don't
worry.
want to be doing this. Like, they're not mad at you. Blah blah blah. So I left her to her own shit so they could tell her what There's fucking like lotion on the curtains and stuff she had to pay for or whatever.
What happened was we were getting all these.
Poured me a drink.
Double fisting, bro.
There we go.
We were getting all these stripper cards. Everyone who was walking out was getting these stripper cards, so we ripped them all up and made these like confetti.
Oh yeah, and it probably got
covered the
soaked
floor.
in fucking margaritas and shit, and just
covered the carpet.
Between the time I walked to the elevator,
I think it was like a lamp broke or something, and she's like, "I have to pay for the lamp."
Dude, I mean, she was at like $300 or something.
Yeah, like in the big scheme of things, considering what we paid for the room and like
we didn't pay.
We didn't pay. She paid. Yeah.
So as we were getting between the walk to the elevator and to the front desk to wait for her, I managed to get on the phone and get a free room at the Monte Carlo.
Yes.
And then as she was checking out, all of her brother's friends were just like, fuck it, I'm going back to Flagstaff.
I'm going to Flagstaff. They all just left.
And I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, I got us a free room at the Monte Carlo. And she's like, I'm getting us a limo.
Yes.
Let's go. So we took
like
a limo
7 a.m. limo.
a quarter mile down the road. And then we went straight to the pool and kept it going. It was like 7 a.m. because the sun had just come up.
We have so many stories. Another one just freaking popped in my head and I lost it. It's going to come back.
A Vegas one?
It was something around Vegas.
Oh, yeah. The order of operations is all.
Oh, yes. I remember backtracking to the first McCormick trip where it was on the bridge. We had been walking around. It's like 4 or 5 a.m. We had been walking around and then we became the McCormicks.
Yeah.
We were like having a team powwow. Like we can do this. We can get through this. We're a family forever. And we met this guy playing the guitar and he had like a speaker and he was singing. And we're like, come back to our room. And so we walked
down and he broke out a saxophone still on the bridge.
Saxophone.
It was one of those bridges over the strip. So
yeah, it was one of the bridges. Yeah.
He gave his guitar to Kevin because Kevin could jam. And
Kevin can jam.
He started like, give me your wristwatch.
Yes! Oh my God!
As people were walking by and shit.
Everyone's just like staring at us like you're crazy.
Yeah. So finally we tell the dude, we're like, we got a room at the Bellagio. Should we mob back there? And I don't think he believed us.
Yeah, he's like, this isn't true.
But we just marched down the street.
We marched into the casino. And we were physically escorted by multiple men into the elevator.
And they were kind of strumming. So they came over and they're like, not so cool. Like, you can't do that. So we stopped.
No, I think we played louder.
No. Then we start walking towards the elevator through the casino floor.
And they escorted us,
jamming. And all of a sudden, but they were like, we can't just like.
They were jamming and we're dancing.
Because everyone's looking at us at craps tables like, what?
Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, get it.
And they made the pro move.
They did. They made the pro move.
Get to the elevator.
They walked. I remember there was a couple of them that walked like a few feet around us, but they escorted us into the escalator.
We were a parade.
They knew. They knew.
Yeah.
They're like, we've seen this scene at 4 a.m. before.
Yeah. And then we get in the elevator, and one guy from Texas gets in the elevator. Do you remember that guy?
Yes, he was. Wasn't he with like his girlfriend or something.
By himself.
By himself, but like ended up in the escalator.
Like, I want to party with you guys.
He's like, I'm coming with you guys.
He lasted 5 minutes.
Oh no, I don't remember that part.
He came back to the room and we were all like out of our gourd.
Yeah.
And he's like, so where are you from? And they're like, well, what a question.
Yeah.
And he's like, I gotta go. And then the saxophone player turned out to be a hypnotist.
Oh my god.
So he's
I
like,
can't believe you remember that.
He's like, can I hypnotize you guys?
We're all like,
you can try.
Hell yeah. I remember we like laid down on the ground in the hotel room.
He's like, lay down, and in your left arm you have some balloons, and you're lifting, lifting, and then in your right arm, a box of encyclopedias. I don't know. I remember he said that, and like everyone's just cracking up.
We were like, he was trying to get us to be all calm, and we were just laughing and rolling on the ground.
We ran into him the next day with his boyfriend or something.
No way! Yes, I remember that. We ran into him, and he's like, yeah, yeah.
And his boyfriend
like,
was just like,
you?
I heard all about you guys.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous night. Yeah, we can pause. You don't have to whisper.
I don't want you to have to edit it.
Oh, no.
I have to fucking pee so bad.
You're good. I was like quickly going through the timeline, seeing what else I could
figure out.
I did figure out.
It's funny, because I was just thinking we were going to talk about that first trip forever, but it's like boom, 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 fucking party!
Yep. So it's actually going through right now. It was later that year that we did tent surf. So that was 2000.
Oh, you were there. I always forget you were there. I always think it was just me and Kevin, because I rode with Kevin.
Oh, okay.
You rode with like John or Larry or like somebody from Phoenix. I probably rode with
both of them or
Metasair or it was just me and Kevin. I remember we got fucking strip searched at the border. Like, and never in my life. Only I've crossed the Mexican border at least 20 times. Only one time.
Yeah.
We're going into Mexico and they fucking strip searched me and Kenny. They fucking took out everything from the car.
Really?
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
You literally got strip searched? Like,
well, the men never strip searched me. That's how, I don't want to say it, but that's how me and Kyle got lucky. The male officers, all the border patrol are fucking men, and they never touched a woman.
Yeah.
So Kyle got patted down all over.
Did he have to like strip down his boxers or anything like that, or just pat
No,
him
he didn't take down his. They didn't like make him strip. Even in like Iraq, I've been, you know, my full body, but I've never taken off my clothes. No.
Okay.
I mean, I think strip search is just like
just a term.
Well, it's actually the car. Like our speakers get taken out. Like the whole, like they really fucking search us.
Damn, like unscrewing shit.
Yeah. They made Kyle take out, because remember Kyle had the big bass system and shit in his trunk. They would make us take it out every time we went from his parents to my parents.
Oh damn.
Fucking bullshit.
Shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, tent surf was a goddamn blast.
Yeah, we got to tell that story of like hitchhiking and trying to make the cruise.
Oh yeah, so this was all 2010, I think. So I think it was like April.
We had an epic 2010.
Dude, that was one of the good years.
It was one of the best. I was just thinking earlier today when I was bucking, I was like, that was one of the best years of my life.
2010, yeah.
Like, college was cool. I loved college. I loved partying with Kayla. I loved my fucking buddies in college. Those are like, my homies are my buddies, you know? And then fucking, like my first days traveling, I had so much energy. I had perfect health. Like I didn't have any digestive issues. Like no parasites.
No parasites. All this is a plus.
I hadn't been fucking like, yeah.
But yeah, all those Vegas trips, and then it was that summer tent surf, which was in Rocky Point, aka Puerto Penasco.
Yeah.
Like 3 hours south of Phoenix, an hour over the border, hour and a half maybe.
No, it's less than an hour from the border, yeah.
But
it's probably 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, John Cordoba organized it along with others.
That was one of my big like, boom, couch surfing is amazing. Do this for life.
Yeah.
And then before that, yeah, we can try and get that in. So I hosted you the first time when I lived with the boys, but when I lived with the boys, are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh. I was like, we should start this again.
I know, we're back in there.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
I actually never hit stop.
That's fucking funny. Okay. I was like, we should just reminisce with the fucking microphone. Okay. Get your shit together, Molly. Yeah. So that I hosted you on fucking couch surfing, and like maybe 4 or 5 other people. We had one weird experience with a Frenchman. I remember he was really weird.
You and I did?
No, me and Bo and Tim. That semester when I lived with the boys.
Hosted?
Yeah, there's like a weird Frenchman who was.
Oh, what kind of weird?
too sorry, Mom. Too aggressive with me.
Oh, like flirty, aggressive, that sort of vibe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and alcohol, and
I
But
gotcha.
anyways, delete that. Anyways, then I moved in with my friend Kayla, who told me about couch surfing. And we lived downtown Flagstaff. We both had couch surfing accounts within an hour of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
We went an entire semester without a single night without couchsurfer.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember that apartment. We had a little living room downtown Flagstaff. And
with the balcony?
Nope, that was with the boys.
Oh.
That was with the boys out towards the Pines.
Okay.
I don't know if you stayed with me and Kayla like in downtown, like right across the street from me.
Yeah, it was like
in
an
the
apartment
hostel.
complex.
It was a hostel.
Was it a hostel?
It was a hostel. It was one of the oldest buildings in Flagstaff. It was still like open or whatever. It's like considered, whatever historical or whatever.
Yeah.
So the hostel is here. And then there's like a couple parking spots and our apartment's here. So it's within this, the same building.
Okay.
I mean, they're not connected, but our laundromat was the hostel laundromat.
Okay.
And Kayla and I both turned 21.
Yeah.
Both of us were graduating college within a few months.
Yeah.
Both of us returned from 3 months of traveling abroad during the summer.
Yep.
And we lived across the street from Mia's. And we both, me or her, had a couch surfing request. Maybe a few weeks there was this woman from Africa who we met through the international office who stayed. But the whole time we lived together. The goal was, we had this big world map in the living room. And the living room was like the size of this office.
Okay.
I don't know what you would say this is, real small.
It's probably like 7 feet by 12, 15 feet.
And the whole apartment was 3 of these. So each of us had a small bedroom and then one of these. And the kitchen was smaller than the desk. It was like,
Yeah.
an oven we could stand on and then one stove, Yeah, so we had a couch surfer every night.
That's awesome.
It was an epic start, and it got me a lot of good reviews. Because then I started traveling for a decade.
Oh, yeah. And once you've got 10 references,
and we had like dozens.
Yeah.
And they were all like of us being hosted. And whenever I was, not always, but a lot of times I was, going to couch surf in like popular areas. And the host would be like, we get so many requests, but we see, you have so many hosting reviews that we had to accept you out of like the, the pile.
For sure, that's awesome.
So I got really lucky with couch surfing,
Paid it back.
I paid it forward. I was like, come on, I know I'm next. Every night for a semester, and then it was my turn.
Then tent surf, it's kind of cool to like meet people who are like really into it and throwing events like for it.
So then we went down to tent surf and partied, and we all camped on the beach. There was maybe 40 of us.
Everyone camped on the beach.
3 nights straight. And I'll never forget, like we were drinking, had a good night, and the next morning there was the
booze cruise?
There was a couple that was really into soccer, into football.
Okay.
And so they really wanted to find this bar that had football. And so we all ended up at this bar that had football. But then we looked at our time and we're like, oh my gosh, like the booze cruise is leaving in 10 minutes. We have to get there. We already booked our spots,
Yeah.
So we went to hitchhike and we're like, we gotta get there. And
that was you and me and Kevin and a couple other people.
There was a couple other people, and I'd like to know who, but there was definitely a couple other travelers.
I do believe there's a picture that exists.
Oh, yes.
If
this exists, this is money.
Yeah.
This is money. So we all jump in the back, and we told the police, like, hey, our booze cruise leaves in like 7 minutes.
We went to the road and stuck our thumbs out. It was a pickup truck.
They turned the sirens on. It's a pickup truck. We all jump in the back, and we're like,
you don't see that here in the States. Pickup police cars.
And we're like, we have the booze cruise leaving in 7 minutes. We have to get there. So the sirens are on, and they speed us through the town.
Dude, we get
all
there
the way.
The dock, and it's like the foghorn and shit.
The ship is leaving, and we're all jumping out of the police car, like, no! And there was enough of our friends who were like, stop!
I know, because what an epic...
We jumped on the booze cruise. We jumped on it as it was leaving.
The water slide booze cruise?
The water slide!
Like, all you can drink. There's definitely pictures of like...
There's pictures of the water slide,
most of us were on that cruise.
Most of us, from the whole couch surfing crew, the whole tent surf crew.
Almost everybody was like on that cruise.
And I won't forget, because I was like, what is this tent surf? Why do you call it tent surf? And John and a couple of the other organizers get a tent the big old rope, and they tie the tent to the rope, and they flew it over the beach, and it was just incredible. Like, I just still, like, that was one of the most epic travel moments. Like, we are 40 travelers in another country, hanging a tent from the beach as a kite.
Yep. Man, the only bummer of that trip was someone stole Larry's dog. Do you remember Coy?
No. I remember Coy.
The big mastiff.
But he got him back, right?
He got him back
months
like
later.
A month or two later.
He was hanging
after
sign.
He posted like a reward or whatever.
And
he was all skinny
forgot about
and shit.
That.
Like whoever took him just hadn't been feeding him.
Wow. Yeah.
I
forgot Larry was actually there.
Oh, Larry was. I forget if Larry directly organized it,
yeah,
but like he was a big part of it. Larry was like a Phoenix ambassador. He was a huge part of couch surfing. He hosted hundreds of people.
Wow.
He once hosted. I'm getting his number wrong. So I apologize.
So he might not even remember me.
But I think he does remember. He once hosted something like 26 people in his house, and everyone was on a bed. Because he used to make custom kids beds that looked like fire trucks and pirate ships and shit.
He had really cool beds for his kids, right?
Yeah. One time a band came in, like a stupid band in a bus, like 16 part band.
Yeah, I went through couch surfing host bands because there were some really cool bands that play in Flagstaff, like Monte Vista and stuff.
And
then they would message us and say, "Hey, can we stay?" And we're like, "Hell yeah! I'm 21, like about to graduate college. You can stay."
Where are you guys playing? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man,
good times.
That was a good run.
That was a good 2010.
And then,
it's a good start to my travels.
You know, I actually hadn't traveled internationally on my own.
Yeah,
until
I remember.
The next year.
I remember the people you were working for kept saying, like, you would do some seasonal work and they would say, like, we're going to save it up for you and just buy you international flights so you would actually get there.
Yeah.
And you had just been in the U.S., but you had been everywhere in the U.S.
Well, I hit the road in 2007. And then I spent that first 4 years just everywhere from Alaska to Cancun, you know, like, but just Canada, U.S., Mexico. And I've been to like every state except for Hawaii and Nebraska.
Yeah.
Or not
Nebraska, probably.
North Dakota.
Flyover country.
North Dakota and Hawaii were like, so I've been to 48 states. And,
I remember seeing you in Nebraska for a very quick beer. So we got to add that to the list.
Oh, yeah.
At a brewery.
Nebraska.
At a brewery that my parents went to when I was a kid.
Nice. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Downtown
I wish I remember
Lincoln.
the name of that. Yeah. Downtown Lincoln. It was like quick beer. Like
I
think Kyle and I were there for like 3 days or something for my brother's graduation.
This guy picked me up hitchhiking somewhere. I ended up crashing with him in Lincoln. And now every time I pass through, I like stay with him. Him and his wife and like everyone involved is just awesome.
Sweet. Yeah, it's a nice culture there.
Yeah, 2011 is when I started going international, and I forget, at that point, we just saw each other like sort of periodically from that point on. I don't even know.
Yeah, from that point on, it was like every 2 or 3 years, and it would always be something epic, like a week trail. Oh no, because 2011 we did a week in Washington on the PCT.
That was
like
2011?
100 miles. Yeah.
Oh shit! So I must have, because 2011 I started traveling.
I think you went after.
I think I was only out of the country for like 9 months, so I must.
It was July.
Maybe that was 2012. I think that's, well, you would know. Didn't you hike the PCT 2 different years? So maybe I
thought it was 2010, 2011, but it must have been 2011, 2012.
Yeah. But yeah, I hiked with you and Kyle.
Yeah, it was 2011 because we spent the New Year's in Thailand, and we went on. Kyle had never left the country or left. You know, he had been to Mexico, and we're sitting New Year's Eve. We're like sitting on the boat, and he had this huge worm in his foot. He was so sick, like this big fever.
A worm in his foot?
He had this huge worm, and he was so sick for 2 days, and we're like, wow, this is so like he had the fever, like couldn't get out of bed, and he's sitting. You know, in Thailand, you don't wear shoes, you know, so he's sitting barefoot on the boat with his leg crossed, and I was sitting across from him, and I said, Kyle,
you could see a worm in his foot?
What the fuck is that?
Was it moving and shit?
It was moving, and it was like you could see not just the worm, but the whole trace of the worm. So the worm went like this.
Dude, like multiple inches.
6 inches probably total. You know, the whole wraparound, and it wrapped around. You go to the pharmacy and you say to the locals, "I got a worm in my skin." And they're like, "We know exactly what to do. That happens all the time. It's from cat poop on the beach."
Yeah.
And they give you antibiotics.
Antibiotics.
And
Did
you're
you try,
fine in
like,
2 days.
stomping your foot first?
You try everything because you know what I read? I did all sorts of research on Google. And at that point, Kyle and I were doing this like work exchange at this really nice nature resort, but we were sharing this really small tent doing a work exchange.
Yeah.
And they say don't sleep next to someone with a worm in their feet because during the night they'll leave one foot and go into the next foot.
How do they leave?
I don't know. But I was
What?
freaking out.
Dude, that sounds
Anyways, he started the antibiotics, and like the Thai said, within 2 days, finished.
Oh my God.
But he still had like the trace for a while.
Oh, that's cool.
It's path, yeah. It's like evidence, you know. Like
Yeah.
I'm a badass. I've been to Thailand.
Oh,
Like
man.
every traveler.
It was fun when we met up for the PCT.
Yeah, that was
We
a
did,
fun.
it was like 100 miles.
Yeah.
Met up, I think it's Snoqualmie is where we
Yeah.
started.
And I remember Kyle and I were real hungry. And
Yeah.
like you're like, we have enough food. I'm like, no, we don't.
Oh, here's a crazy
We're
story
really
you
hungry.
might remember. So I got there like a day before,
Okay.
and I was gonna hike down to this lake and camp there. And I was like, they'll probably see my bivvy, blah blah blah. And as I'm hiking down, I see these two women, and they like just look super bummed. And I was like, hey, and they're like, hey. And then I noticed they had taken their trekking poles and made a gurney and were carrying their dog, which was just a little smaller than Jack's.
I do remember this.
Big dog.
Big boy.
And the dog had gotten bit by a spider or a snake or something and was just done, you know?
Oh, no.
Like, not able to walk at all, like, barely had his eyes open. And I had been walking downhill, so I was like, and they were beat. So I was just like, all right. So I took over. One girl had more strength than the other.
Shit.
And I got them, like, pretty much to the parking lot. And I stashed my bag down by the lake, kind of. And then they gave me, like, chocolate and wine.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I was just like, all right, well, here's my information or something. And I never heard from him. And then years later, I discovered on Facebook Messenger, if someone messages you that's not like your friend, it goes to a weird inbox.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily
Message
alert
requests.
you.
Yeah.
And I checked that just randomly. And I had messages like from 4 or 5 years ago. And one of them was from them.
No way.
Because I told this story to a bunch of people. And I'm just like, I hope everything worked out. And so like, I got this message 3 years later. And they're just like, yeah, everything worked out. Like the dog died eventually, but years later.
Oh, good.
Like a couple years later.
Okay.
And,
Yeah. Wow.
And then I met you guys the next day, and then we hiked 100 miles.
Yeah. So we hiked 100 miles. I remember Kyle and I were like ravishingly hungry. Like, what do you have, Kenny?
I must have had like garbage, but like
you had garbage,
good.
we had garbage, and we both ran out.
Yeah,
I mean, we had enough, but like Kyle and I were still hungry, and you're like, we've had enough, you know? And I'm like, no, like a ramen isn't enough.
Yeah.
But then like a week
I think
later,
I broke something out. I was just like, well, I think I have like a Twix bar. Like, oh my god.
yeah, it was
Are
like
you serious? I'm like,
no
take it.
way. Yeah, you
Yeah.
were really like, you're like, just take it, and we're like,
yeah, and you're like, I'll get you back. I'm like, don't even.
yeah. So then I remember a few days later, this guy that Kyle and I hiked, we started the PCT in the South, and we met this guy in Washington. We hadn't seen him in like weeks or maybe months, and he was older, just laying. We arrived in the campground, and he's just laying down, and we're like, maybe he needs like some love, And I walked to him, I'm like, are you okay? Like, you need dinner? And Kyle and I are also like so hungry, like at that point in the trail, like, I don't really want to give him my food.
Yeah, but you feel.
But I was like, he's like, I'm okay. I'm just gonna go to sleep. He still had his backpack on. We're like, I just got in my pocket and gave him my best treat, and it was a Toblerone bar.
Oh shit!
And he just looked at me like, oh my god. And he ate the Toblerone bar, and then we didn't talk to them for a few months, maybe 4 or 5 months, and they were following us, and they knew we were on the Camino de Santiago. And they had hiked the Camino a couple years before. And they said, okay, we've booked you in at the Parador near Santiago for your last night, this day, whatever. 250, 300 euros, crazy expensive, in this castle right next to the big cathedral we were walking to, the Santiago. And I remember the breakfast buffet. It was like caviar, not even just only fresh orange juice, like fresh orange juice, pineapple smoothie, berry smoothie, like everything you can imagine. It was like, one Toblerone bar.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Just an act of generosity at that level. Like, in that moment where you're too fucking tired to even, like, take your backpack off.
And I know those moments.
Oh, yeah,
so I was like, we gotta help him out.
Oh, man. Yeah, we've all had that brutal moment where you're just, like, walking, like, I don't even think I can take that many more steps.
Yeah. Or I can't lift my backpack, Kenny. Can you help me?
Yeah. Physically done. Man.
Good times.
Yeah. Yeah, saw you in Greece eventually.
Yep. That was like 4 years later, 5 years later, 6 years later.
Yeah. And then your wedding was what, like a year or two after that?
Yep.
That was cool. That worked out perfect.
Couldn't tell you what year that was.
Couldn't tell you what year that was. It's just a wedding, though.
No big thing. We planned it in 2 weeks, you know?
Yeah. Just meet at the top of this hill somewhere, like, around Southern California.
Go outside the campground, outside the legal limits.
Yeah. We'll set it up. We got to move quick, though.
Yeah. And we only have 20 chairs, and we told everyone to wear white.
Wear white. I don't know what I wore. Probably whatever I always wore.
Yeah. It's funny because I didn't even think about it. I just told everyone, everyone wear white because I was real, like, spiritual at that moment, and purity is white, So I told everyone wear white. And then there was a problem with the chairs the day before, and I was like, oh, whatever. People can sit, And then, like, a week later, my friend made a post on Facebook and was like, she made us wear white, and then there was no chairs, and we didn't know what to do.
We all sat in the dirt and just owned it.
And I was like, good! Get some dirt on you.
Yeah, live a little. Damn. And then we came to this place.
And then we came to this place a few years later. Made some monies.
Yep. Happy days are here to stay.
Happy days are here to stay.
Well, we can end it on that note. We've been talking for a minute.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Salud.
We'll do another episode sometime down the road. Many more adventures.
Can't stop, won't stop. Get it.
Perfect. All right. That was Molly Jo Hawk Nixon. Just an amazing person in my life. I'm so glad to have met her. So many great adventures. We only kind of brushed on half of them, or not even. I don't know. There's just so much shenanigans we've gotten into over the years, including right now. So let me bring you up to speed on my travels, what's going on, and how I wound up here with Molly. So yeah, if you follow this podcast, you might have listened to the last episode where I talked about hopping the backpacking beer adventure, season 2, filming that, which went pretty well, except for my childhood friend bailing out on me, and I still haven't heard from him. Anyone who's following this closely, he still has not responded to any of my messages. I don't know what's going on with this guy. Still love the dude. Sure we'll catch up eventually, but he can hold a grudge, so we'll see. But yeah, that was the last episode. I was talking about that and how we'd finished up in Portland, and I had to get out to my brother's retirement in North Carolina, and then my buddy who's been traveling around in an RV with his new girlfriend was in Virginia at that girlfriend's parents' place. So I wound up hitchhiking halfway. He picked me up halfway with her. Went up to the family spot in Virginia, just south of DC, like pretty tranquil spot, almost a little too tranquil. I was getting a little stir crazy, to be honest, and that's when I heard from Molly, because I've got a wedding to go to in Delaware. Pretty stoked about it, actually. A cousin's getting married in end of September. So that was, when was that? Like start of August, or no, end of July, basically, when I was there in Virginia last month. And I'm like, all right, so I got like a couple months to screw around. Probably not going to leave the country. Not really worth it with just a couple months. What am I going to do? Put out a feeler, heard from Molly. She's like, let's go to this pot farm. I'm going to be there. So kind of need to get there in a hurry, basically. I sort of did the math. It's just like, all right, I could hitchhike and it'll take like a week, maybe 10 days to get there. But I'm like, if I just get a $90 plane ticket or whatever it ended up being, I'll get there much quicker, and I know I'll make like $200-$300 a day out there. So that sort of just like makes sense. So the cheapest way and the most interesting way to fly out there is actually involving a 30-hour layover in Vegas. I'm like, all right, yes, let's do that. 30 like So my buddy Christian, who I was seeing in Virginia with his girlfriend there, they're gonna drive back to Biloxi, Mississippi by way of Nashville. So I'm like, all right, I got all these options, this information out here. Drinking bourbon right now, y'all. Just I'm gonna get a sip of this. So I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna fly, if I'm gonna make it quick, I can basically fly anywhere from Virginia to Nashville to even Mississippi, and Nashville was the cheapest. So I'm like, all right, I'll ride with these guys to Nashville. That's when I lost my shoes because I was basically just on that property all day in Virginia, barefoot, more or less, because it's just, good little spot. And half the nights or more, I was sleeping in the camper parked out there. So that's how I spaced on my Keens, my like Keen sandals. I left them at the house because I just popped into the camper when we left and just didn't even think about it because I've been doing it all week. And the next day, I think we had to like actually go to a gas station or something, and it's like, oh shit, no shoes for me. I had to get some crappy shoes anyways, so and luckily I was able to get those shoes mailed back. It took a while. Some boring drama involved in that, getting those shoes back. But yeah, I got the flight out of Nashville. I was literally the last person on the plane. I got there the very last minute. Uh, Flew to Vegas. I showed up at Vegas at 2 in the morning, and if you can believe it, if y'all know my story and all my Vegas stories, I still get free rooms in Vegas, which is kind of ridiculous considering how little I sort of gamble, especially on the books, quote unquote. Um, but yeah, they still give those free rooms away. I kind of get it because the way I always think about it in my head, the reason they give these free rooms away so like willy nilly is I imagine they're not paying their maids too much. Like, let's even say they're paying them $20 an hour, which they probably aren't. I don't know. But let's say they're paying them $20 an hour. It can't take more than 30 minutes to clean my room when I leave Vegas, which is basically that's what it costs for me to be there. So let's just call it $10. Uh, so I think they're taking the gamble that for the $10 it's going to cost them to pay a maid, like I'm probably going to lose more than that or spend money like on their property and just be an extra person filling the casino, making it look like they're busier than they are. So I think it's a good move on their part, and it's fine by me to get a free room. So, anyways, I got in at like midnight or so, and I walked all the way to Bally's, which is on the Vegas Strip. I got there like 2 in the morning or something, and crashed right out. Happy to have the free room. Woke up around and got moving around noon the next day, and the deal was that my flight to San Francisco was at 6 a.m. So I had 12 plus 6, 18 hours to kill, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to waste another free room. I'm just going to stay up until the flight. I can do this. So I started cruising around the strip, winning a little bit of money, losing a lot of money. I ended up losing overall for the trip playing crap. So there you go. That's why they give you the free rooms. I wasn't too worried about it though, because I knew I was gonna make some money on this pot farm. And to be honest, I don't need a lot of money right now. There's just nothing that I'm got my eyes on. There's no little. I'm just good, pretty good at the moment. Uh, just beer and food. Trying to pay that cell phone bill. Feeling okay. Went to Abel Baker Brewery. Had to do that. If you watch season 1, episode 1 of Hopping, you know that brewery is fucking fantastic. So obviously I had to drop in there. This is the second time since filming there that I've got to go in there on my own accord as I take a sip of bourbon. Blasphemous. Just a sec. All right. So I did that. It was a good little Vegas run, kind of. Yeah, like I said, I was doing pretty good at the bubble craps machines, and then kind of took a nosedive shortly after Abel Baker. And I was just kind of over it. Unlike the old days, I wasn't gonna like chase and try to win it all back. I was just like, all right, I've lost enough. Getting free drinks while I was playing, but I'm like, how am I gonna stay up? I was starting to drag at like 9 p.m. or something, 10 p.m. I'm just like, all right. Vegas was the busiest I've ever seen it too. In all the years I've gone there, like at least in memory, it was packed. There's people everywhere. Like sometimes I'd walk into the casinos and I couldn't even get to the little bubble craps machines that I like. They're just slammed, especially come nighttime. It's like a Friday or Saturday night too. So I was just trying to stay up early, just cruising around, and then somewhere around midnight, I'm like, fuck it, let me just go to the airport. I know security and the gates don't open until like 4 a.m. or something, but I'll just go. maybe even 6 a.m. So I got there and just kind of nodded out until security opened, got through, nodded out the gate. Finally got on the plane, boom, bombed it up to San Francisco. And yeah, I made a devious dirtbag move. I had an old Clipper card, which is like the San Francisco Metro card, you know, the Bay Area Metro card, I should say, and scanned it and got all the way to San Rafael basically for free because the way the system works is you're supposed to like tap in wherever you are and then tap out when you get out. I really don't like it. That's why I like New York City and systems like that. It's just like whatever it costs. It's like $2.75 to anywhere. You don't have to think. But because San Francisco does it this way, I basically got a free ride all the way to San Rafael. Kind of burned them for like 14, 15 bucks. So my apologies to the Bay Area, but that's just how it shook out. that's what I did that day. Dirtbag move. But got to San Rafael, and that's where Molly picked me up. So Molly was driving up from Arizona. So that was the whole scheme, was how can I most cheaply fly to somewhere on her path where she'll be driving. And flights to Phoenix were actually more expensive. So this was the move. She picked me up with her puppy, and it was off to Northern California, to this pot farm. And drove on up, caught up with her in the car quite a bit. We still had 2-3 hours until we had to get to where we were going to. Another sip of bourbon. I'm on my lunch break right now. It's getting ridiculous over here. So this is where I'm at now. So I get to this pot farm, Northern California, outside of Ukiah, that kind of area, if you know, but like out in the country, so to speak. And I was here in February of 2020, just like pre-shutdowns for that pandemic stuff. Molly's been coming out here for 4 or 5 years, same spot. And I spent like, I forget how long, a couple weeks or something out here, basically bucking, trimming, running the machine, processing the weed directly. And that's kind of what I thought I'd be doing this time around. But no, I'm kind of like running the place in a way. Like, there's just like one dude running around as like the lead grower, more or less. And yeah, they're just like, yeah, that's your guy. That's who you listen to. So I've been running around like, I haven't trimmed at all. I'm like working on irrigation, like watering. This place is gigantic. There's thousands of plants. There's probably 4 giant outdoor gardens. I don't know how many acres this place is. I'm bad with acres, but it's like over 100 acres. Maybe it's 1,000 acres. I don't really know. It's enormous. Like we got a truck and a quad to get around. I think it's like 4 giant outdoor gardens, maybe 4 greenhouses, like a clone room to keep the cycle of life going. Just a lot to keep track of. And then it's like watering tomatoes in the meantime and running stuff from someone to someone else and taking trips into town a couple times to get fertilizer and just like electricity and timers for lights and just doing all this stuff. I'm like, all right, fine. Dude even left for a while, and I was just like in charge of this like multi-million-dollar operation with thousands of plants. I'm like, all right, I got this. So in a way, it's been kind of nice because it's just like, I'm not just sitting in the same room with a pair of scissors for 10, 12, 13 hours a day. I'm actually like out and about, moving around, driving the trucks, staying outside, lifting stuff. Yeah, getting the blood flowing, having a good time. The people that were already here were minimal, but very cool. So I've really enjoyed that. Obviously enjoyed Molly's company. And that interview that you just heard, she left about a week ago. And because they're so short-staffed, I was like, all right, I'll stay for another little bit. They're trying to make me stay longer, but I will be out of here in maybe tomorrow the day after, and start making moves. Which brings me to this part of the podcast where I sort of try to guess at what I'm going to do next. And yeah, I think Chico is going to be my next move. Like I said, I'm probably out of here tomorrow, the next day. Cashed up. Going to have a little more cash than I thought because I stayed here longer. So that's that. That's good. That brings me options, I guess. Like I said, I got that wedding in Delaware in the end of September. So in about a month, another sip of bourbon here. So I've got basically a month to get to Delaware. I got a lot of places on my mind. Chico's 100%. Chico, California. It's one of my go-to spots. One of my friends, I think, is going to be out of town. That's unfortunate. But maybe if I stay long enough, I'll catch her on the back end. But I got other friends in town I want to see, catch up with their stories. I haven't been in California in like a year and a half, so I'm stoked to catch up with them. I got a buddy in Sacramento, but he's like, oh, I've got a kitchen, so I don't know. I don't drink good beer anymore, and so be like, oh, okay. I see how it is. Some people just like lose a taste for beer in life. It happens. Sacramento will do that to you. But yeah, maybe I'll catch up with that son of a bitch if I can. There's a girl in Santa Rosa I wouldn't mind seeing. I got a friend with a funeral home a little north of here, but I think she caught the COVID or something, so she's trying to lay low. Got some other friends close to Santa Rosa I wouldn't mind seeing. A bunch of people in this like immediate area. This dude I've been chilling with here on the pot farm, he's kind of giving me the poker itch again, so part of me wants to go catch some free rooms in like Tahoe or Reno and sort of just, I don't know, kick it there for a second. And then a bunch of other places. I'm willing to zigzag. I mean, hit me up. I got the whole country between me and Delaware, like all the way, basically. So I've got a bunch of options. I don't want to list them off in case you're listening and you're one of those people I want to go see, and then I get sidetracked and I'm not able to. But yeah, a lot of options, and yeah, just winging it. Always winging it, best that I can. So I'm excited. Fucking always excited. I always say I'm excited because I'm just in a constant state of bewilderment. Happy days. So yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed Molly. I'm sure that you did. She was in rare form, happy form, party form that night. We were sipping champagne, doing the whole thing. She had her classic laugh going. Much love for Molly Joe. It was awesome seeing her, and her husband dropped through for a few days. Great catching up with him. You heard the story already, how they met. Very cool all the way. And yeah, I'm stoked to get the hell out of here, to be honest, because it's been a month. Today is 1 month I've been on this farm, with the exception of running into town a few different days to grab like fertilizer and lights and other junk, and sneaking off to a brewery or something, or trying to get some in and out. Like, I've just been here, so I'm done. There's no amount of money that's gonna stop me from enjoying myself. So hit the limit. Gotta go. And go I shall. So I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Hope you're on the road or thinking about the road or just enjoying your goddamn life. That's all that really matters. Have a good one, y'all, and I will see you down the road. I need a new escape. With all my shit straight, I'll get my big brain.